Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's literally been collecting dust in my shop for about a year now. Today I will be installing and using it with my S140 watt. If you ever wanted to engrave tumblers, glasses, or anything cylindrical, this is the accessory you need. And in this video, I'll show you how to install it, set it up in Xtool Creative Space, and run some test engravings on stainless steel, glass, and more. But first, I have a little confession.
So when I first bought my Xtool S1, I went all in. Big combo deal, the honeycomb, the air assist, the fire suppression, and of course the RA2 Pro, the rotary attachment. But here's what happened. I got super into testing the machine, cutting and engraving pretty much anything I could think of. And soon after, I fell down that rabbit hole of engraving painted canvases
And made a couple of videos about it. Check it out.
Fast forward almost a full year, I'm organizing the shop, just working there. And I noticed this box under this pile of plywood, still sealed, brand new. I forgot I even owned the rotary tool, to be honest with you.
So today is Redemption Day. We are unboxing it, setting it up, and putting it to work. Before we jump in, just a quick heads up. Everything I mentioned in this video, including other helpful laser engraving tutorials, materials, and tools I use, you will find linked down in the description. If you get a subscription from Creative Fabrica or buy anything from Amazon, I get a small commission at no extra cost to you, but it really helps me upgrade my gear and make better videos for you. No pressure. And hey, if this kind of content helps you out, do me a solid and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you more of this stuff. The RA2 Pro rotary tool is a total game changer if you're ready to go beyond the flat surfaces. This thing lets you engrave on tumblers, glassware, rolling pins, pretty much anything that spins. Whether you're making custom gifts, client work, or just want to experiment with new materials, this tool opens up a whole new lane. It's one of those accessories that turns your laser from cool to holy crap, I can make that. And once you try it, you'll wonder why you didn't use it sooner. Ask me how I know. All right, so let's talk about what actually comes with the RA2 Pro. Because this isn't just one accessory, it's kind of a full-on kit built to handle different types of engraving projects.
The RA2 in roller mode, connection cables, the support module, some screws, the mini level, the user manual, jaw chalk components, the tail module, the single-step jaw component, the double-step jaw component, the stud, the tape measure, which is about 1.5 meters, plus the tools. Just so you know, the RA2 Pro is basically the upgraded version of Xtool's older rotary, the RA1. The RA1 was mostly just a roller setup, great for tumblers and cups, but the RA2 Pro takes it further, much further. So you got in this full 4-in-1 rotary tool type thing, the roller mode, the chalk mode, the sphere mode, and even a ring rotary option. Basically, if it spins, this thing can probably engrave it. And Xtool also offers this next level RA2 Pro, which is a deluxe, which I think you can buy as a package. It will allow you to pretty much do the same as the RA2 Pro, but it has a lift and incline type of setup. I think it's 26 degrees or so that you can incline and shift things around. It also comes with a little built-in laser that helps you align things better. Is it worth the price difference? I don't know. Let me know. Check it out. Now, as for how it works, the RA2 can run in two modes. Roller mode for things that roll and chalk mode for things that don't. Pretty straightforward, but having both options really expands what you can do. Right out of the box, you have your roller components ready to go. These are great for your standard cylindrical stuff that are more flat. And the rollers help the object roll smoothly while engraving. On the rotary attachment itself, you got the motor right here next to the Xtool logo. Then you have the connection port that connects to the laser. You got here the adjustable rollers. This is the one that will allow you to fit various size cups or mugs, whatever item that is flat and you want to engrave here. Both rollers have the roller stands there to keep them straight and level. You got 3 levels of adjustments here. Level A, B, and C. A is for anything between 3 and 50 millimeters in diameter. B is 45 to 60 millimeters. And C is 60 millimeters. To change these levels, turn the rotary attachment over and remove the 2 screws from the adjustable roller using the 2.5 millimeter hex key. Now, when you move the roller down closer to the fixed roller, you just got to turn it a little bit and move it along. If you go left or right, you'll notice that it will give a little bit, so follow that to go back and forth. You will also get a support module, which comes in handy when you're working with longer or uneven items that need a little help staying level. The support module works by turning this knob left or right to raise or lower the support wheels. If you turn the knob to the right, you will raise the wheels, and to the left, you will lower them. Make sure it aligns with the base to provide good support. Then there is the jaw chuck setup, which holds things tightly in place. Perfect for both round and oddly shaped items from 1 millimeter up to 100 millimeters in diameter. To set it up, you need to remove both rollers and both support stands. Remember that the fixed roller has 2 screws, so you will need to rotate that. Turn over the base and install the belt holder, making sure the flat part of the pin inside is down. Tight the screws on the bottom of the motor. Place the belt and slide it over its holder and sit the unit lining it up with the A and B holes and fix using the screws. Don't forget to store your rollers and its components in a safe place and avoid misplacing them. The single and double jaw components, 3 of them for each, can be installed going in or going out, depending on what you want to hold and engrave. When you want to engrave mugs or cups with handles, you can attach the chuck on the outside of the base plate. Now, depending on the size of the mug or tumbler, you might need to use a base to raise the RA2 enough so that the handle will not hit the bottom of the laser. Just make sure you don't hit the laser module above. You might also need a counterweight to keep your RA2 from tipping over. Again, just make sure you watch the module and don't allow anything to get on its way while engraving. And if you want to engrave rings or round objects like spheres, well, that's where the tail module and stud components come in. Super useful for precision work though. The installation is very easy and the tail module can be used outside the base or slide it towards the stud if you want to engrave something smaller. If you want to fix the tail module to keep things from moving, you can lock it up like so. Just turn that knob and it will lock it.
Software-wise, it plays really well with Xtool Creative Space, which I'm using in this video. It also supports Lightburn if you want more advanced design control. Now, laser gerbil, or like some folks call it gerbil, I don't know. Like the rodent, I guess. I didn't make the name, but hey, it sticks. How do you say it? Tell me in the comments. Just a heads up though, it's not compatible with Xtool machines, so if you're running the S1 like I am, you'll want to stick with XCS or Lightburn.
Now, don't be intimidated by all these accessories, parts, belts, and screws. The included user guide is very solid. It walks you through everything with step-by-step instructions, pictures to make it easy to follow, even if you're brand new to using the rotary. Plus, Xtool's support page has a lot of good videos and documentation to guide you through the entire process. I will leave the links in the description if you're interested. First, remove your regular honeycomb tray from the S1. You will need that extra height for sure though. If your laser doesn't have an enclosure, there are these little feet that sometimes come in with the machines, or you can have someone make you some fancy 3D printed ones, or you can always use offcuts or whatever you have handy to just bring your laser up as needed. Start by placing your RA2 in the middle of the base, keeping in mind that some larger tumblers or engravings will need a little more room for the laser module to travel. Then plug in the rotary tool into the port at the front of the machine. When not in use, I recommend you to make sure you plug that back in just to avoid having dirt or debris clog your port there. One thing to watch out for is to make sure that you got the rotary base oriented the right way. The motor and the plug should be to the right of the laser. You have that Xtool logo there. Well, that's got to be to the right. So if you can read it, you're doing good. I usually just grab a small square or even a straight edge to help get everything nice and square before I run a job. Takes an extra second, but it saves a lot of frustrations in the end.
Quick maintenance tip: keep your setup clean. Even a little bit of dust or debris can mess with the engraving quality, especially on something like a tumbler where precision really matters. For the RA2 rollers, I usually hit them with some air from the compressor. If you don't have one, no worries, a can of compressed air works too, or one of those little electric dust blowers that are everywhere now. I have one on my cart up in Amazon. I did a lot of digging and research for that one. I'll drop a link to it if you're interested. Check out the box below.
And here's another one. If you're engraving glass, give it a quick wipe with isopropyl alcohol before you start. It helps remove oils or fingerprints that can interfere with the laser. Same goes for stainless steel. A clean surface equals better results.
Now I'll walk you through a couple of real-world engraving setups using the RA2. That way you will see how it handles different shapes and materials.
We'll start with a couple of mugs. We'll do the glass. We'll do the tumbler, of course. And we'll also do something small so you can see how the chalk mode works too.
So funny story. I was actually planning to shoot a completely different video today. One about MDF, engraving MDF, and the same way I did it with the canvases. That's coming up next week. But the wife saw one of my tease videos where I was talking about engraving stainless steel. Check out the video here too. And in one of those shots, she saw this pink tumbler. She loved it. And she asked me, hey, can you please engrave that one for me? Like right now? So here we are, priorities. But I will be engraving a test one first to make sure I get my settings right.
Now, for some of these smaller cups, we can keep the handle, no problem. We just need to make sure that we attach things properly using the step attachment, and then we will level. I have removed the handles on this one before, but I think it will be a good test to engrave just using just the rollers. This bigger tumbler will need to get those handles removed 100%. It is not a big deal. You just have to remove those screws and fold the prongs so that it will not run into the laser when engraving.
I was struggling with it a little more than I care for, so I decided to use some of the other tools that I haven't used in a while just to kind of show off and justify the cost. But you can do it easily with just a set of screws. You just gotta angle it right and, just don't strip the screw.
One thing with this rotary tool, to attach and remove and configure it this way, the other way, you're doing a lot of screwing and unscrewing. So I'm doing it by hand, but I also have this other electric screw that just makes things a little easier. I'll leave the link in the description for that one too. It works great.
All right, with our mugs and tumblers ready and prepared, we need to get some key info here. The measurements of the tumbler. We need the diameter or the perimeter. You get one and the system will calculate the other one for you unless you still remember your 5th grade math. I don't.
Now, we can either use the provided tape that came with the RA2 or some calipers will work just as well, whatever you want. Again, we also need to measure the area where we want our engraving to go. In this video, we're just doing a simple engraving, so we're not going to get too complicated.
For a wraparound engraving where you engrave the entire tumbler, well, I think that's a bit more advanced and perhaps we can cover it in an upcoming video. Let me know in the comments if you're interested.
Now, for the first mug, the one without the handle, we will use the roller settings. There's no need to measure it, being that the system just knows basically what to do. First things first, we're going to go up to the top. We're going to change this from process on base plate to use the roller. The next thing I'm going to do is to run a material test. I like to use this little star. I always use it. Don't remember who I saw using this first. I think it was my good friend Vintauri. I'm a huge fan. When I first got my machine, I was just consuming his videos. If you haven't checked him out, please go ahead, check his channel out. He's fantastic. Learn a lot from him. I'm going to use my start. Normally use 6 millimeters. Make sure you're using the engrave option there. And then we go to the material test array. And they were recommending 40 and 200. 40 for power, 200 for speed. So let's just do 50 and 30. That should show us 40 right there in the middle. And for this guy, let's just use 500 and 100. If we go with what they recommend, so 240, whatever they recommend should be there. Done. And to be honest with you, I think this is a good range for most of the stainless steel stuff that I have to engrave, as far as the mugs and the tumblers. So I'll use that. For glass and wood, of course, we're going to have to do other material testings, but I'll show it to you on the screen. By now, you know how to do most of this stuff. I'm going to go get those measurements. Right, so with our numbers ready, we're going to create a little rectangle just to have a visual representation of where we're going to go with things here, right? The best way that I've heard this described was to think of it as a label that you are gluing to whatever you're engraving. That kind of gives you an idea where to position things, right? All right, so we're going to plug in our numbers. And again, this is, think of it as your label that you're applying to your mug or to your tumbler. Put it in the middle here somewhere just to make use of the real estate. We need to turn it. So we're going to go -90 here to turn it. Right. So the opening of our mug is this way, right? So the engraved test Xtool should be to the top. So yeah, we did it right. -90. One great thing about Xtool's XCS is that you can go here to the top and click on this model preview, and it will show you, a bit of a preview of what we're looking at here. Once you go to your laser and plug in your settings, do your measurement and what have you, don't forget to do the framing just to make sure that you see exactly where things are going to go. Now, let's not forget to do this either while I'm thinking about it. Square here, we don't want this rectangle to output. We will start with this red stainless steel mug. The coating is rather thin, as you will see. The laser removed material in almost the entire grid. Based on the quality of the engraving, I will use 45 power and 200 speed. Very close to what Xtool recommends. A quick wipe of the rollers as we continue our testing. I'm still testing the rollers now on a pencil. On my first pass, I forgot to change the settings, and by the time I realized it, I already had burned half of the pencil. Continue rolling, now testing on a dowel. This one worked out pretty good. I engraved some sports theme there for you. Now, glass is a little tricky. I have a diode laser, so I'm using a coating method here. I have seen all sorts of approaches here to engraving glass with a diode laser, from dish soap, tempera paint. I stick to what I know, moly spray, so we'll see if it works. Masking tape can also help reduce some of that chipping. I'll just keep that in place for now. I'm in a celebratory mood, as you can see. Now, for the tumbler, this is where we need to start paying attention to things. First, we need to change from process on base plates to chuck use the rotary attachment. We set up our material testing like before. Make sure we select engrave. For our material test array, we will use the same range as before. 50 and 30 for power. For speed, we will do 500 and 100. We will draw our box to give us an idea where we need to place our engraving. Don't forget our engraving needs to be set to -90 degrees so that it comes out facing the right way. We need to change from diameter to perimeter. You can use either one, just make sure you get the right numbers. Also, I'm using millimeters here. Use whatever you're comfortable with. I take a look at the model preview here, and once I'm satisfied, we can go to the machines. Now I'm going for the bigger price. I'm starting to test this black stainless steel tumbler. I used the same material testing grid as I did with the smaller mug. I will keep the same setup for my other stainless steel engravings. I'm very happy with the way the grid turned out. Again, 45 power and 200 speed is giving me the better results. Everything that could go wrong went wrong with this mug. Even after framing, the laser module hit the RA2 and ended up moving it out of alignment. I'm happy with the quality of it, even if the engraving itself is in the wrong place and missing a bit of the side. This little guy gave me a good chance to test the chuck and the studs combo. She didn't go to Jared, so I didn't have a ring to test with. This 5cm wooden ball will do just fine. I did the same logo as in the last mug and it looks great again, for a test. Plus, Saverna Build's brew ring just sounds so good. And we're back again using our numbers on this red mug. 45 power, 200 speed, and I think I used 140 on this test. Again, I'm super happy with the results. I just couldn't ask for more. I have a couple more mugs in the same style, and I will be using, again, some outdoorsy logo with the same settings I use, 45 power, 200 speed. I wanted to test a more complex engraving, thinking of that wraparound engraving I want to do for my lady friend. And what do you know, Creative Fabrica had a picture of a beagle, like my good boy Cooper. If you ever think your engraving didn't come out right, before you get too upset, rub some alcohol using a magic eraser and you will see it turned out just great. And Molly Lou never disappoints, and this glass is ready for a celebration. And you know the story with this other mug. It was a great learning opportunity for sure. This mug is just something else. I just love the vibe and the message is so fitting. The same with this guy, Hooked Outdoors. Even the test grid looks great. When I first set up the RA2, I went to check out a couple of videos on YouTube. Two videos had this eggs on the studs, but nobody engraved anything. So I decided to be a little different. Did you know you could engrave an egg? I didn't. It worked out pretty good, didn't it? And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And of course, because this is a maker's world, and for a couple of years now, people have been making all sorts of jigs for the rotary. Custom supports for longer objects, cradles for bottles, even guides for exact spacing. Because let's face it, if it exists, someone's already made a jig for it. I'm keeping mine stock for now, but don't tempt me. How you build a jig for the rotary? Share in the comments. And don't forget, if you're looking for files to get started with tumblers or mugs, or even full wrap designs, check out Creative Fabrica. I got those links and the tumblers I use in the description below. Everything I share here is just my opinion based on my own experiences, the good and the bad. I'm showing you what works for me and where I've messed up, so hopefully you can avoid making the same mistakes. And if I get something wrong, or you got tips of your own, feel free to drop a comment. If this video helped you out, sparked an idea, or saved you from learning something the hard way, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep making content like this. Honestly, if you're serious about engraving, tumblers, or glass rings, you name it, I would definitely recommend picking up the RA2 Pro. It really opens up what your laser can do. This video is also a little shout out to my friend Liz. Your constant encouragement and support inspire me to finally make this video, and the wife and I just want to say thank you for your support. If you'd like to go the extra mile and support what I do, I got Patreon and YouTube memberships available where I post early access videos, behind the scenes updates, and extra content you won't find anywhere else. And if you're just feeling generous and think I've earned it, you can also buy me a cup of coffee. The link is down in the description below too. Lastly, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to get your feedback. In my last video, the audio was super low. I was salvaging it after a mic issue I had, but I've upgraded my setup since then, so let me know if this one sounds better. Your input is everything to me and helps a ton, so thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and as always, go make something awesome. So long.